Live. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I have a very special guest. I'm so excited to interview Miss Debbi Sanchez. I'm going to get right into your bio. Let's see. Debbi Sanchez is a wedding and event coordinator in Gilroy, California. She's active on several nonprofit boards, including the St. Louis Regional Board of Trustees, the Gilroy Public Arts Committee, the Gilroy Hall of Fame Committee, and others. Debbi's a 14-year breast cancer survivor, advocate, fundraiser. She's married 33 years. Her daughter has given her 3 beautiful grandbabies, your little bugs. They are so cute. And she is the 2017 Gilroy Chamber of Commerce Volunteer of the Year. Thank you so much, Debbi. And I happen to personally know, you have the best hugs in the entire world. You totally have the best hugs. So thank you. And thank you for joining us. And so I want to get right into this. Breast cancer. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I would love for everyone to hear your story. Welcome. Thank you. And the floor is yours.
Okay. So my name is Debbi. I actually found out that I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2003. I found a lump in my breast in August of 2002. At the time, I was taking care of an ailing uncle, and I was just really busy with work. I had a daughter, I had a husband, and so I didn't really have time. And when I felt it, it was my monthly check, because I usually checked right before I started, before outflow came. So the first time I felt it, I kind of thought, well, that's kind of weird. But then I thought, swollen glands. Then the next month I did it again, and I did feel it again. But then I thought, nope, swollen glands, we all become sensitive during that period of time. Then the third month, I felt it again. This time it was a little bit larger than the first 2 times. So I did come to my husband, and I asked for assistance. And I asked him to please just kind of fill. And he immediately asked, okay, where? And I didn't want to tell him where to fill, because then he would know, it could be just the same thing. And so when he started looking around, filling around, he felt the same thing and said, what's that? And at that point, it became so real. And it's like, damn, you felt it too. So I still, was busy and didn't make an appointment right away. It wasn't until October when it was actually bigger. I was literally able to grab it through the skin. So at that point, that's when my husband said that I needed to make an appointment. And so I went to see my gynecologist, and she felt it immediately, and concern came over her face. And that day was December 23rd. She scheduled me for my first mammogram. I was only 37 years old. We went to St. Louis Breast Cancer Center and had my first mammogram. The technician said, don't worry, you have fibroids, so, go out, enjoy Christmas. And so I did. She didn't seem concerned, so I put it in the back of my mind. The day after Christmas, my OBGYN called me and scheduled my sonogram, because she wasn't happy with what she saw. So we went and got my sonogram, and the technician there, we were joking and talking, and then his face changed. And so it added concern. Now we're getting close to New Year's. And so we enjoyed New Year's, and the day after New Year's, my OBGYN, Dr. Sacco, she called me, and she had already scheduled my appointment with my surgeon and already with my oncologist. So I went in on January 6th to go see the surgeon. And by January 9th at 4:30, I got the phone call. That is like the hardest thing to do, is to hear you have cancer. And Dr. Sorrento just kept talking, and all I can say was, okay, thank you. I had my husband who was sitting there with me, and I was definitely trying to process and smile through all of it and try to have a brave face for everyone, because my daughter was outside the bedroom door waiting for an answer. So we came out, we had a moment together, my husband and I came out, told my daughter, definitely became very emotional with the family. Then a week later, I saw my oncologist and talked about the plan, and it was really hard to process everything. And so I was grateful that my husband was with me and he can listen, because all as I got caught up in my brain is that I have cancer. And it was, wow, how did this happen? It doesn't run in my family. I'm the very first one to have breast cancer. I was pretty young, 37. I haven't had any family members die of breast cancer, so it was very shocking. We met with the oncologist, and by February 3rd, I went in for my first surgery. Didn't get clear margins. A week later, they told me I had to go back in on the 27th and have a second surgery. Then saw the oncologist after that, and we started in April my chemotherapy. I had 6 sessions every 21 days. I had a cocktail that was pretty strong. It was very, very hard to get through each treatment. Each time I went, it just started getting worse and worse, and getting sick, having weakness. It was pretty hard. There was points that I literally just kind of felt that I wanted to die because it was so painful. I finished my 6 sessions of chemotherapy. I lost every bit of hair on my body. Steroids made me bloat. They made me sick. I was on 11 different pills because one helped with one symptom, and then that one created a symptom, so I needed another one. So I was taking 11 pills along with radiation. I lived on water and watermelon. That's all I can handle. Then I started my radiation, and I had 8 weeks of radiation. By August of 2003, I started getting my hair growing back very, very short. It came back in very curly. So it was a long time getting through. I definitely had 5 years of in and out of the hospital. But when I had my 5-year anniversary, it was just kind of like things changed. And I was able to do a bra party is what I had for my 5-year anniversary at First Street Coffee. Everyone there, we all made bras, and we all wore them the day of my 5-year anniversary at the
5-year anniversary of cancer-free?
Cancer-free. And we handed out all kinds of pamphlets and raised money for the American Cancer Society, because as soon as I was diagnosed, I called their 1-800 number, and they told me that I was a survivor, which kind of blew my mind, because it's like, oh, wow, this is something new. It's a new title. And I became really involved in Relay for Life because they told me about the Relay for Life. And so, of course, I jumped in. I was a survivor chair for a few years. Then I was event chair for 3 years. My husband was the chair also. So we have fought for a long time for awareness on breast cancer. I do the Susan G. Komen 60-mile walk every 2 years with another girlfriend of mine that was diagnosed in 2009, who had to have a double mastectomy. There's another girlfriend of mine. There's a group of 7 of us together, and so far out of the 7, 3 of us have been diagnosed. They both have had double mastectomies. I was lucky to only have to have a lumpectomy. So I do what I do, not only for my girlfriends, but I also do it for my daughter and my granddaughter. I don't ever want any other woman to have to go through what I went through.
Wow. That is, yeah, I don't think I've ever heard your entire story. I know you do so much with just awareness. And well, my grandmother had breast cancer, but I didn't really know anything about breast cancer. I mean, at that point, my mom was told, okay, you need to kind of watch for it. But I really never really thought about it until you. And you always have your fun fundraisers and all your stuff. So you've actually really kind of I opened my eyes to this, and so I thank you for that. So I have a question about your story. So you said you waited, and you waited, and you waited. Like
I did.
Like, did you know? And why did you wait?
You know, the reason why I waited was, honestly, I just didn't feel that I had time for it. I mean, it's funny when you feel, I have known about what it actually feels like. I can't remember where I was. I do remember the lady who was speaking. She had a silicone breast and it had a little cherry pit. And she says, this is exactly what it feels like when you're doing your breast exam. I knew it was probably something, but it was easier for me to put it in, oh, it's just fibroids, literally, because I was thinking I don't have time to take care of myself. I had an uncle who we moved in with us that was in and out of the hospital, weeks at a time. I would take him to Kaiser and stay at the hospital with him. I was his advocate. I had a daughter in high school that needed me, and I felt that I had to be at all her games, and I had a full-time job. So it was just something I felt that I didn't have time for until I really noticed it was actually growing quickly. It was growing very quickly, from the first time I felt it to when I actually finally went in to go see Dr. Sacco in December.
Oh, yeah. And as women, I think we do that. We take care of everybody else.
We put everyone else before ourselves. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I have to say, there was probably fear that was involved also.
Right.
You don't, I guess it was kind of a combination, because it's not only just fear, it's also, this doesn't run in my family. There's no history of breast cancer on either sides of my family. So it was kind of hard to really understand that it was something that could actually happen to me.
Right. Right. And I think because they still don't really know a lot about cancer and genetics and how, and I did hear statistically that it doesn't have to run into your family, and it's actually more common that it doesn't. And so everybody should self-exam and watch for it and not wait until somebody else in their family gets it. Is that right?
And that is one of the biggest things that I'm an advocate about. And, I was definitely very lucky that I went, 4 months after I actually felt it. instead of just waiting even in longer. So I had an aunt that was by marriage, my aunt, who was diagnosed shortly after I was. She had a lump under her armpit, and she had had it for way longer than I did and just never told anybody. Unfortunately, she lost her battle.
Wow.
And I have to say now it's so it's so hard. Sorry, I don't mean to get emotional, but I've lost so many friends to this horrible disease.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to know how damaging this disease is, because when you're diagnosed and you go through it, it's not just you, it's your family and friends that are also affected by it. So it's important that we're diligent in taking care of ourselves. That's why now I talk to women all of the time about, especially October is my big month of pushing. I, usually throw Facebook, hey, if you haven't gotten your mammograms, go get your mammograms done. This year I've been blessed. I have been on the board of trustees, and I was able to speak at, for St. Louise, I was able to speak at our gala about what I went through, and we did a fund a need, and that was for the new breast center in Gilroy and Morgan Hill. We were able to raise $96,000 for the breast centers. So, yeah,
That's
yay
awesome.
for the board.
Good for
We
you.
did an amazing job. So it's something that's really important to me, that all women take care of themselves and make sure you're getting your mammograms. And, if you're feeling something different, don't hesitate, to go talk to your doctor. And if you're feeling that your doctor's not hearing you, it's okay to go to someone else. Even though you love your doctor, it's okay to go see another doctor. Get a second opinion if it makes you feel more comfortable.
Yeah. And so with your exams, you're saying feel something different. So, I mean, is it obvious? Is it really obvious when you're doing exam? Because I'm very lumpy. I mean, I know I have the tissue. I'm always feeling stuff in there. The doctors will look and they have to kind of take a second look. And I've had my mammogram, and I've done all that, and I'm just, is it lumpy? I don't even know what the word is.
No, think of a cherry pit. It's hard. So by the time I actually had my surgery, it was the size of a walnut. The first time I felt it, it was probably about that big. So
Yeah.
I literally was able to grab it because it got so big. And it's hard. It's hard. But, there are different types of breast cancer. So you have to kind of be careful too. If you're having leakage and you're not, breastfeeding, you definitely need to go to the doctor. If you're, get some redness on them, definitely go to the doctor. Don't be afraid. Yes, my journey was my journey, and my body reacted to the medicines I was doing because that's how my body reacted. That doesn't necessarily mean that every woman is going to have the same reaction or have the same outcome of treatment, because treatment is so different. Was even before 2003, it was automatic mastectomy. Well, it's not like that anymore. I was lucky because of the breast cancer I had. I was able to have a lumpectomy. Technology is getting better, and so it's for women who are being diagnosed to have less invasive treatment.
Right. Okay. So it's important, if I heard you right, I mean, it's just important to know your body, to just check regularly. And if it seems weird, go have it checked and push it if you think you're not getting the answers that you're looking for.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine going through it. And like you're saying, part of it is involving the family and everyone, and then having to share that with them, and then they're involved. And I mean, I can't even imagine emotionally what all of that feels like. But your husband is pretty awesome, because Mike's.
I, I have to say, my husband was the most amazing caregiver. I mean, we both agree he is a better caregiver than between the two of us. Definitely better caregiver.
So how's life now? So what's going on now? So now you fundraise and awareness, and I'm sorry.
Life now is definitely much. All I want to do is apply my time, because when you go through this, you realize time is so short. You can live 100 years and time is too short. So the way I live my life now, especially now, is I want to do everything I can to make things better for everyone I know. You talk about hugs. Yes, hugs are important to me. I like to hug people and let people know what they mean to me. And for me, my hugs tell people that, because life can change at any moment. And I want to, and the one thing I've learned is relationship is the only thing we have. And that's what's important to me, is to make sure my relationships are about that, love them. The second thing is that I'm doing what I can in my community, in the world, life better for people. Even if it's just me giving a weekend and walking 60 miles and getting blisters and exhausted and my muscles tightening up, then that's what I can do. Every bit of awareness that I can do is what I'm going to do. That's why, when I do the Susan G. Komen, I like to post everything on there, just so people are aware of, I need to take care of myself. I need to go get my breasts checked. I need to check my breasts. It's all awareness. And the more that we do on our own, the better we will all be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for being on the webcast today. I really appreciate it. I love you so much, and I appreciate everything that you do. And I'm grateful that that my listeners get to hear this story. And so this is for everybody watching. I want you to tell us in the comments below, or depending on where you're watching this, comment what you got out of this video, and how, if you've been affected by breast cancer, what you're doing. I just want to hear all the stories out there, because it inspires me. And yeah, so, and to hear more about Debbi, to get all of her, oh my gosh, all the stuff that you do. We're going to post all of her links on my website. So you can go to irenekachel.com/inspiring interviews, and you can see the replay, comment, find Debbi. I'll put all of her links there. And, I personally think you're not just a survivor, but you're a thriver. Like, you're beyond just surviving, because I know you've affected me just by your hugs alone. So thank you so much. I mean, like, I feel how much you love just life and love being here. And I appreciate everything you do. So thank you so much. Kiss, kiss.
I love you, and thank you so much for asking me to do this. I mean, this is actually very special to be able to talk to women and, ask women to make sure they put themselves before everyone else. Because the one thing about us is we need to take care of families, but in order to do that, we have to take care of ourselves first before we can take care of the rest of the family.
Absolutely. Great note to end on. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Love you. Bye.
Bye.